The stars looked different through the thick glass of the observation deck. Dr. Lisa Morgan pressed her face against the cool surface and watched the alien ship grow larger in the distance. It moved like a living thing, its surface rippling with colors she had never seen before. The ship was 10 times bigger than their vessel, the Horizon's Edge, and it made her stomach twist with worry. First time seeing one up close? Captain Jake Coleman walked up beside her. His voice was calm, but Lisa could see the tension in his shoulders. He had been in space for 20 years, but this was new for all of them. "It's beautiful," Lisa said. "And terrifying," the captain nodded. "That's probably the point." Behind them, the bridge buzzed with quiet activity. Dr. Amy Rodriguez sat at her station, running through alien language files for the 100th time. Her fingers moved fast across the keyboard, checking and double-checking the translation programs. One wrong word could start a war. Colonel Ben Murphy stood near the weapons console, though all their guns were powered down as agreed. His hand rested on his sidearm out of habit. Lisa knew he didn't trust the aliens, and she couldn't blame him. The Zephyrians had destroyed 3 civilizations before agreeing to meet with humans. Ship approaching docking range, called out the navigation officer. "They're sending a signal." The main screen flickered to life. The alien that appeared made Lisa's breath catch in her throat. The being was tall and thin, with skin that looked like living crystal. Multiple arms moved in fluid motions, and its eyes changed color as it spoke. When it talked, the sound came through like music mixed with the scraping of metal. "I am Veltar, the Truth Seeker of the Zephyrian Empire," the alien said. The translation came through their computers a second later. "Your vessel will dock with ours. You will come aboard our ship for the meeting. Do not bring weapons." Captain Coleman stepped forward. "I am Captain Jake Coleman of Earth. We agree to your terms. We come in peace." The alien's eyes shifted to a deeper blue color. "Peace is what the weak call surrender. We will see what humans truly are." The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in uncomfortable silence. "Cheerful bunch," muttered Colonel Murphy. Dr. Rodriguez looked up from her station. "The translation might be off. Their language has concepts we don't have words for. What they call truth seeker might mean something completely different to them. Or it might mean exactly what it sounds like," Lisa said. "Someone who digs for truth whether you want them to or not." The docking process took an hour. The Zephyrian ship attached to theirs with organic-looking tubes that seemed to grow from its hull. Lisa watched through the monitors as the connection sealed itself. The sight made her skin crawl, but she forced herself to stay calm. "Final equipment check," Captain Coleman announced. "Dr. Morgan, you have the biological scanners?" Lisa patted the small device on her belt. "Ready, though I'm not sure how much good they'll do with a completely alien biology." "Dr. Rodriguez, translation systems?" Amy held up a small earpiece. "Working perfectly. I've loaded every language pattern we've studied. If they try to say something our computers can't handle, I'll do my best to figure it out." "Colonel Murphy, you're sure about leaving the weapons behind?" Ben's jaw tightened. "I don't like it, but orders are orders. Besides, if they wanted us dead, we'd already be dead. Their ship could crack ours like an egg." The airlock opened with a soft hiss. The air that came through smelled strange, like ozone mixed with something sweet. Lisa's scanner beeped softly, analyzing the atmosphere. It was safe to breathe, but there were trace chemicals she didn't recognize. The corridor beyond was unlike anything she had ever seen. The walls pulsed with a faint light, and the floor felt soft under their feet. It was warm, almost body temperature, and Lisa realized they were walking through something that was part machine and part living creature. "Stay close," Captain Coleman whispered. "And remember, we're representing all of humanity here." They walked for what felt like miles through the twisting corridors. Other aliens moved past them, paying little attention to the humans. Lisa tried to catalog the different types she saw. Some looked like Veltar, tall and crystalline. Others were shorter with more arms, or longer with fewer. All of them moved with a fluid grace that made Lisa feel clumsy by comparison. Finally, they reached a large chamber. The ceiling stretched high above them, and the walls were covered in patterns that hurt to look at directly. In the center of the room stood Veltar, surrounded by other aliens that were clearly important. Their skin glowed brighter, and their movements were more controlled. Humans, Veltar said, and Lisa noticed the alien's eyes had turned a dark red color. You are smaller than we expected, and you smell of fear. Lisa felt her heart rate spike, but she kept her voice steady. We prefer to think of it as healthy caution. Several of the aliens made sounds that might have been laughter. Veltar stepped closer, and Lisa could see her reflection in the alien's crystalline skin. Caution, Veltar repeated. An interesting word choice. Most species that come before us speak of honor or desperation. You speak of caution, as if you have a choice in this matter. Captain Coleman stepped forward. We always have choices. That's what makes us human. The alien's eyes shifted to a brighter red. Yes, we have heard this about your species. You believe in choice even when facing extinction. We find this curious. Why? Dr. Rodriguez asked. Don't your people value freedom? Freedom is an illusion, Veltar said. There is only power and the lack of power. The strong survive, the weak serve. This is the way of the universe. Lisa looked around the chamber. The other aliens watched them with unblinking eyes. She could feel their attention like a physical weight. These beings had conquered star systems and destroyed entire civilizations. They expected the humans to bow down and beg for mercy. Instead, Lisa pulled out her scanner and took a reading of the room's atmosphere. The device beeped quietly, and she made a note in her tablet. What are you doing? Veltar asked, her voice sharp. Taking notes, Lisa said simply. This is a historic moment. The first meeting between our species. I want to record everything, for future study. The alien stared at her for a long moment. Then, to Lisa's surprise, Veltar's eyes shifted to a yellow color she hadn't seen before. You are not what we expected, human Dr. Lisa Morgan. The meeting chamber felt like being inside a living heart. The walls pulsed with a steady rhythm that matched Lisa's breathing, and the air grew thicker with each passing minute. She sat across from Veltar at a table that seemed to grow from the floor itself. The other humans had been taken to separate rooms for what the aliens called cultural exchange sessions. Lisa tried not to think about what that meant. Your species interests us, Veltar said. The alien's eyes had settled on a pale green color that Lisa's scanner couldn't identify. Most beings who come before the Empire show proper respect. They tremble. They beg. They offer us their treasures and their people. We brought gifts, Lisa said, gesturing to the small bag beside her chair. Scientific data, cultural artifacts, music from our world. Though I suppose you mean something different by treasures. Veltar leaned forward. Her crystalline skin caught the strange light of the room and threw it back in patterns that made Lisa's head hurt. We mean submission, acknowledgement of our power, recognition that your species exists only because we allow it. The room began to change around them. The gravity grew heavier, pressing down on Lisa's shoulders like invisible hands. The air started to smell sharp and metallic, making her nose burn. The walls shifted color, creating swirling patterns that seemed to move when she wasn't looking directly at them. Lisa felt her heart rate increase. Sweat beaded on her forehead. But instead of showing fear, she pulled out her tablet and started taking notes. Fascinating, she said, typing quickly. The room is responding to your emotional state, or maybe to some kind of technological control. Are you changing the environment deliberately, or is this ship responding to your thoughts? Veltar's eyes flashed to a bright orange. You should be afraid. I am afraid, Lisa said honestly, but fear doesn't stop me from being curious. This is incredible technology. How do you make the walls change like that? Is it some kind of programmable matter, or are they actually alive? The alien stood up, her tall form casting strange shadows in the shifting light. The gravity increased again, making Lisa's bones ache. The air grew so thick it was hard to breathe. Most humans would have been on their knees by now, gasping and begging for mercy. Lisa adjusted her position in the chair and kept typing. Kyak, atmospheric changes suggest you can control gas mixtures in real time, she said, pausing to take a shallow breath. That's remarkable precision. Our best life support systems can't adjust that quickly. Are you using some kind of biological filters? Veltar moved closer, her multiple arms gesturing in what Lisa guessed was frustration. Your heart beats faster. Your body temperature rises. Your breathing becomes labored. These are signs of fear. Why do you not show proper submission? Lisa looked up from her tablet. Because being scared doesn't mean I have to act scared. Humans learn early that the world is dangerous. Our planet tried to kill us for millions of years with ice ages, volcanoes, diseases, and predators. We survived by being afraid of the right things but not letting that fear paralyze us. The room pulsed brighter, and Lisa felt like someone was sitting on her chest. The walls began to show images that hurt to look at, scenes of destruction, of planets burning, of species bowing before Zephyrian might. The message was clear. Lisa watched the images with scientific interest. Psychological warfare, she said, making another note. You're trying to break my will by showing me what happens to those who resist. It's effective. I'm definitely more frightened now. But you're also showing me valuable intelligence about your military capabilities. Veltar made a sound like breaking glass. Intelligence? You think this is intelligence gathering? Everything is intelligence gathering, Lisa said. The way your ship moves, how your technology works, what methods you use to intimidate other species. My people will want to know all of this. Not because we plan to fight you, but because understanding is how we survive. The alien circled around Lisa's chair, her eyes now cycling through colors rapidly. Your species conquered your own world through violence. We have seen your history. Wars, genocide, destruction. You are killers. Lisa nodded. We're very good at it. But we're also explorers, scientists, artists, and dreamers. Humans contain multitudes. The same species that created nuclear weapons also created music that makes people cry with joy. Yet you sit here calmly while I demonstrate the power to destroy your world. Because destroying my world wouldn't benefit you, Lisa said. You invited us here. You want something from humanity or you want to understand us. Either way, killing me right now would be counterproductive. Veltar stopped moving. The room's changes paused for a moment, as if the alien was thinking. You analyze everything, she said finally, even your own fear. Especially my own fear. Fear is information. It tells me what threats to take seriously. Right now it's telling me that you're extremely powerful and potentially hostile. But it's also telling me that you're frustrated because I'm not reacting the way you expect. The gravity lessened slightly, and Lisa took a deeper breath. Her scanner beeped softly, recording the changes in the room's conditions. Your people sent you as their representative, Veltar said. Are all humans like you? Lisa smiled. Though it took effort in the oppressive atmosphere, no two humans are exactly alike, but we all share certain traits. Curiosity, stubbornness, and the ability to function while terrified. Some of us are better at it than others. Function while terrified. Veltar repeated the word slowly. It's our specialty, Lisa said. We've been doing it for our entire existence as a species. Every major human achievement happened because someone was scared but did it anyway. We went to the moon while terrified. We split the atom while terrified. We sent signals into space looking for other life while terrified of what might answer. Veltar's eyes settled on a deep purple color Lisa hadn't seen before. Why aren't you afraid, human? The alien asked, her voice carrying a strange intensity. Lisa looked up from her tablet, meeting the alien's shifting gaze directly. But I am afraid, she said quietly. I'm absolutely terrified. The question isn't whether I'm afraid. The question is what I do with that fear. The room fell silent except for the steady pulse of the walls. Veltar stared at Lisa for a long moment, her eyes cycling through colors that had no names in any human language. Finally, the alien spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. That answer chills me to the bone. Lisa set down her tablet and looked directly at Veltar. The alien's eyes had stopped changing colors and settled on a deep purple that seemed to glow in the dim light. The room around them had grown quiet, as if the ship itself was listening. "You want to know why your fear tactics don't work on me?" Lisa asked. "It's because humans have lived with fear our entire existence. We were born afraid, and we learned to use that fear as a tool." Veltar moved closer, her crystalline skin reflecting the pulsing lights of the walls. "Explain." Lisa took a breath of the thick air and began. "Imagine a world where everything wants to kill you. The weather changes without warning and brings ice that lasts for thousands of years. The ground shakes and splits open, spitting fire into the sky. Diseases spread that kill half your people. Animals with teeth and claws hunt you in the darkness." "Many worlds are harsh," Veltar said, "but here's what makes humans different," Lisa continued. "We didn't just survive our world. We thrived on it. We learned to make fire while our hands shook with cold. We built boats to cross dangerous oceans while storms raged around us. We climbed mountains that killed others who tried. The aliens." Multiple arms moved in what Lisa was beginning to recognize as confusion. "Why would you do such things?" "Because we had to. Because staying safe meant staying weak. Because the only way to beat fear was to walk straight through it." Lisa pulled up files on her tablet. "Let me tell you about some humans from our history." She showed Veltar images of ancient humans crossing frozen wastelands, following herds of giant animals with nothing but stone weapons. These people were terrified every day. They knew the mammoths could crush them. They knew the cold could freeze them solid. They knew predators hunted them at night. But they did it anyway because that's how they fed their families. Veltar's eyes flickered. Survival necessity. More than that. Lisa swiped to new images. Here are humans sailing across oceans they'd never seen before, not knowing if they would find land or sail off the edge of the world. They were scared, but they went anyway. Here are humans building rockets to leave their planet, knowing that one small mistake would kill them in the void of space. These actions seem illogical, Lisa smiled. That's what makes us human. We do things that scare us because they need to be done. We call it courage, but it's really just stubbornness mixed with curiosity. She pulled up more files. This is a human named Marie. She studied dangerous radiation that made her sick, but she kept working because she wanted to understand it. This is a human named Ernest. He went to one of the coldest places on our planet just to see what was there. This is a human named Neil. He left our planet entirely and walked on our moon. Were they not afraid? They were terrified, Lisa said. Marie knew the radiation was killing her. Ernest knew the cold could freeze him to death in minutes. Neil knew that if his ship broke, he would die alone in space. But fear wasn't enough to stop them. Veltar began to pace around Lisa's chair again. Other species flee from danger. They submit to greater power. They choose survival over risk. And that's exactly why your empire conquered them so easily, Lisa said. You show them power. They get scared. They surrender. It's a logical response. But humans have a saying, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good people to do nothing. You consider us evil? Lisa shook her head. I don't know enough about your people to make that judgment. But I know that when something scares us, our first instinct isn't to run or hide. Our first instinct is to understand it, plan for it, and figure out how to deal with it. The room's atmosphere grew heavier again, but Lisa had grown used to it. She continued typing notes even as her breathing became labored. You're testing me again, she observed, seeing if I'll break under pressure. But this is nothing compared to what humans do to each other. We've survived wars where millions died. We've lived through plagues that killed entire cities. We've rebuilt after disasters that destroyed everything we built. Your species fights itself? Constantly. We're very good at it. Too good sometimes. Lisa's voice grew serious. But that's taught us something important. We know exactly what it takes to destroy something powerful. We know how to find weaknesses. We know how to turn strength into vulnerability. Veltar stopped pacing. You threaten us. No, Lisa said calmly. I'm explaining why threatening us won't work. You're trying to make me afraid, so I'll submit. But I'm already afraid. And I'm still here. You're trying to show me your power, so I'll surrender. But power just means you have something valuable that can be taken away. The alien's eyes began cycling through colors again, faster than before. Your species would fight the Empire. Lisa was quiet for a moment, choosing her words carefully. We would prefer not to. War is wasteful and destructive. But if you forced us to choose between freedom and survival, we'd choose freedom. We'd rather die fighting than live on our knees. That is madness. Maybe. But it's our madness. Lisa closed her tablet and looked directly at Veltar. You asked why I'm not afraid. The truth is, I'm terrified of you and your empire. Your ships are bigger than ours. Your weapons are more powerful. Your technology is more advanced. You could probably destroy my entire species. Veltar's eyes settled on a satisfied orange. Then you understand. But here's what you don't understand, Lisa continued. Being afraid of you doesn't mean I'll obey you. It means I'll study you. It means I'll learn your weaknesses. It means I'll spend every waking moment figuring out how to level the playing field. The room fell silent except for the steady pulse of the walls. While we've been talking, I've been analyzing your ship's atmosphere, your biology, your technology, and your psychology. I've learned more about your species in this conversation than you probably intended to reveal. And when I get back to my people, I'll share everything I've learned. Veltar's eyes went completely black. Not because I want to fight you, Lisa said quickly, but because that's what humans do when we're scared. We gather information. We make plans. We prepare for every possibility. Fear doesn't paralyze us. It motivates us. The alien stood perfectly still for a long moment. When she finally spoke, her voice was different. Quieter. More thoughtful. Your species turns fear into action. Yes. Other species turn fear into submission. Most do. Yes. Veltar's eyes slowly changed to a color Lisa had never seen before. Something between silver and black that seemed to swallow light. That is a terrifying thought. Veltar walked through the corridors of her ship with slow, measured steps. The conversation with the human had ended hours ago, but her mind still raced with troubling thoughts. Other crew members moved aside as she passed, recognizing the dark, silver color of her eyes as a sign of deep contemplation. She entered the War Council chamber where 5 other Zephyrians waited. General Kexmore stood at the center, his massive form towering over the others. His skin glowed bright red with excitement, and his multiple arms gestured wildly as he spoke. The humans must be destroyed immediately, he declared. I have reviewed their ship's design, their weapons, their military history. They are warriors disguised as diplomats. Every one of their technological advances came from warfare. Commander Zixara, the Empire's chief strategist, floated near the wall displays. Her skin showed patterns of yellow and blue as she analyzed data. Their ship carries no significant weapons. Their delegation includes scientists and diplomats. They came, here to talk, not fight. Exactly my point, Kexmore snapped. They bring scientists to gather intelligence. They bring diplomats to learn our weaknesses. This is how they prepare for war. Veltar moved to her place at the council table. The other Zephyrians turned to her, waiting for her report. As truth seeker, her word carried more weight than anyone else's in matters of alien psychology. The human Dr. Lisa Morgan is unlike any being I have encountered, she began. I subjected her to fear conditioning in the interrogation chamber, maximum atmospheric pressure, psychological warfare, displays of imperial power. She showed all the biological signs of terror, yet continued to function normally. Fear conditioning has never failed, said Counselor Nexith, her elderly form, glowing pale green with confusion. Every species breaks under our methods. The Corvani lasted 18 minutes. The Threxians managed only 12. The human lasted the entire session and took scientific notes throughout, Veltar replied. She analyzed our technology while experiencing severe physiological stress, She maintained logical thinking patterns while her body prepared for fight or flight responses. The chamber fell silent. This was unprecedented in the Empire's long history of conquest. General Kexmore's skin flared brighter red. All the more reason to eliminate them before they become a threat. If they cannot be controlled through fear, they cannot be controlled at all. But can they be destroyed? Asked Commander Zixara. I have been studying their ship's construction. It is crude compared to our biotechnology, but remarkably efficient. They have maximized defensive capabilities with limited resources. Veltar accessed the ship's communication systems and displayed human transmissions they had intercepted. During the meeting, the translations appeared on floating screens around the chamber. Listen to their messages, she said. This is Captain Coleman reporting to his superiors. Zephyrian ship shows signs of organic integration. Hull appears to be living tissue. Recommend research into biological warfare countermeasures. Another message appeared. Dr. Rodriguez to Earth Command. Alien language contains multiple threat classifications. Suggest psychological warfare. Is standard diplomatic protocol. Advise mental preparation for future negotiations. The final message made the council members' skin colors shift uncomfortably. Colonel Murphy to Defense Command. Enemy ship relies on intimidation tactics. Size indicates centralized systems. Single catastrophic failure could disable entire vessel. Uploading structural analysis. They analyze everything, Veltar continued. While experiencing fear, they gather intelligence. While being threatened, they identify weaknesses. While sitting in our ship, they plan our destruction. Counselor. Nexith's skin grew paler. The humans think like this naturally. According to Dr. Morgan, yes. She called it survival instinct. Humans have spent their entire evolutionary history as persistence hunters. They do not catch prey by being faster or stronger. They catch it by refusing to give up. General Kexmore slammed one of his arms against the table. Then we destroy them now before they learn too much. Commander Zixara floated closer to the displays. Look at these battle records from their homeworld. Humans have fought wars for thousands of years. They have experience fighting enemies with superior technology, superior numbers, superior resources. They win through unconventional tactics. She highlighted specific conflicts. Here they defeated an empire that controlled most of their known world using small boats and guerrilla warfare. Here they stopped an invasion force using civilian aircraft and determination. Here they ended a war by creating weapons so terrible they horrified themselves. They make weapons that scare their own creators? Asked Counselor Nexith. Nuclear weapons, Veltar said. They split atoms to create explosions that can destroy cities. They were terrified of what they had built, but they built it anyway because they were more terrified of losing a war. The chamber grew quiet again as the implications settled in. There is something else, Veltar added. I asked Dr. Morgan why she was not afraid. Her answer was that she was afraid, completely terrified. But fear does not stop humans from acting. She said fear motivates them. General Kexmore's skin began shifting from red to orange. Fear motivates them to do what? Whatever needs to be done. She gave examples. Humans who sailed into unknown oceans while terrified of sea monsters. Humans who flew into space while terrified of the void. Humans who faced deadly diseases while terrified of infection. Veltar paused. All because someone had to do it. Commander Zixara pulled up more human historical data. Their military doctrine is built around this concept. They call it courage under fire. The ability to think clearly and act decisively while under extreme stress. But surely they can be overwhelmed, said Counselor Nexith. Every species has a breaking point. Do they? Veltar asked. Dr. Morgan told me about humans who continued fighting even when they knew they would die. Humans who chose torture over betraying their people. Humans who walked into certain death rather than abandon their principles. She displayed one more. Intercepted message. This one was from Dr. Morgan herself, sent to Earth during their conversation. Zephyrian psychology appears to rely on intimidation as primary tool. Species likely vulnerable to sustained resistance. Recommend long-term cultural exchange to understand their weaknesses while appearing cooperative. The message made the War Council's skin colors shift to uncomfortable combinations of fear and anger. She was analyzing us while we were analyzing her, Veltar said. And she was better at it. General Kexmore's skin had turned completely orange, now the color of confusion mixed with rage. What do you recommend, Truthseeker? Veltar looked around the chamber at beings who had conquered a dozen star systems through fear and power. For the first time in her career, she was about to recommend something that had never been necessary before. I recommend we negotiate with them as equals. The silence that followed was the loudest sound any of them had ever heard. The final meeting took place in the largest chamber of the Zephyrian ship. Captain Coleman, Dr. Rodriguez, and Colonel Murphy had rejoined Lisa after their separate sessions. They sat across from Veltar and her War Council at a table that seemed to grow from the living floor of the ship. The atmosphere felt different this time. The oppressive weight was gone, and the walls no longer pulsed with threatening colors. Lisa noticed that the Zephyrians seemed less confident than before. Their skin colors shifted constantly, showing what she was beginning to understand as uncertainty. We have completed our evaluation of your species, Veltar announced. The Empire will now demonstrate why resistance is futile. The chamber's walls became transparent, showing the vast emptiness of space around them. In the distance, a small moon hung like a gray stone against the stars. It was lifeless, just rock and dust, but it was the size of a small planet. Observe, General Kexmore said, his skin glowing bright red. This moon will be destroyed to show you the power of the Zephyrian Empire. The alien ship began to change. Parts of its hull opened like flower petals, revealing structures that pulsed with deadly energy. Biomechanical weapons emerged from the ship's living tissue, all aimed at the distant moon. Captain Coleman leaned forward. That's quite impressive. How long did it take you to grow those weapons? Dr. Rodriguez was already taking readings with her instruments. The energy signature is fascinating. It looks like you're using some kind of biological fusion process. Colonel Murphy studied the weapon formations with the eye of a career soldier. Organic targeting systems. Interesting approach. Must be effective against most ship designs. Veltar's eyes shifted to a confused yellow. You should be trembling in fear. We are afraid, Lisa said honestly. Those weapons could destroy our ship easily, but fear doesn't make us stupid. This is valuable scientific information. The Zephyrian weapons fired. Streams of energy that looked like living lightning crossed the space between the ship and the moon. When they struck, the moon cracked like an egg. Within minutes, it broke apart into thousands of pieces that scattered into space. The humans watched in respectful silence. When the display ended, Captain Coleman spoke first. Thank you for the demonstration. That gives us excellent data on your weapon system's range, charging time, and energy output. General Kexmore's skin flared brighter. You witnessed the destruction of a world. How can you remain calm? Colonel Murphy answered with the matter-of-fact tone of a military professional. Because, sir, we've been fighting each other with similar weapons for 50 years. We know exactly how to defend against planet killers. The silence that followed was profound. Every Zephyrian in the room stared at the humans with expressions that needed no translation. Similar weapons? Veltar asked quietly. Dr. Rodriguez nodded. Nuclear missiles, orbital bombardment platforms, antimatter charges. We've had the ability to destroy our own planet since the 1940s. We chose not to use it, but the capability exists. You possess world-ending weapons? Commander Zixara's skin had turned pale blue. Every spacefaring human nation has them, Captain Coleman confirmed. It's one of the requirements for joining our space program. You have to prove you can destroy planets before we trust you to explore them responsibly. Lisa pulled up files on her tablet. Here's some footage from our weapons testing. This is a hydrogen bomb from 70 years ago. This is an antimatter torpedo from last year. This is a theoretical planet cracker we designed but decided not to build. The Zephyrians watched the videos with growing discomfort. Their skin colors cycled through shades the humans had never seen before. Why do you build such weapons if you do not use them? Asked Counselor Nexith. Deterrence, Colonel Murphy explained. If everyone has planet killers, nobody uses planet killers. It's called mutually assured destruction. We learned it the hard way after we almost destroyed ourselves a few times. You almost destroyed your own species? Veltar's voice was barely a whisper. Several times, Lisa said. Nuclear war, biological weapons, climate change, artificial intelligence gone wrong. We're very good at creating existential threats. We're also very good at surviving them. Captain Coleman leaned back in his chair. The thing is, your demonstration was meant to show us that resistance is futile, but it actually showed us something much more useful. Which is, General Kexmore demanded. That your weapons are biological, Dr. Rodriguez said. Which means they can get sick. We're very good with diseases. We've been fighting plagues for thousands of years. Your ships are living organisms, Colonel Murphy added, which means they need to eat, breathe, and sleep. We know how to kill living things. Your entire military doctrine is based on fear and intimidation, Lisa concluded. But we've already established that fear doesn't work on humans the way it works on other species. Veltar stood up slowly. What are you saying? Captain Coleman's voice was calm but firm. We're saying that if you want a war with humanity, you'll get one, but it won't be the kind of war you're used to fighting. We don't surrender when we're scared. We get creative. Creative how? Asked Commander Zixara. Colonel Murphy smiled, and it was not a pleasant expression. Well, for starters, we've been scanning your ship since we arrived. We know where your life support systems are, how your artificial gravity works, and which parts of your hull are most vulnerable. If we wanted to disable this vessel, we could do it with the materials in our medical kit. The Zephyrian's skin colors shifted to combinations that suggested alarm mixed with disbelief. You plan to attack us? General Kexmore's skin blazed red. We planned for every possibility, Lisa said. That's what humans do. We hope for the best and prepare for the worst. Right now, 3 human ships are tracking this vessel from a safe distance. If we don't report back in 6 hours, they'll assume we're dead and act accordingly. Veltar's eyes went completely black. Act how? They'll follow us home, Captain Coleman said simply. They'll study everything about your empire. They'll learn your weaknesses, copy your technology, and prepare humanity for a very long, very expensive, very unpleasant war that nobody will win. The chamber fell silent, except for the distant hum of the ship's biological systems. Or, Dr. Rodriguez said, cheerfully, we could be friends, trade technology, share scientific discoveries, explore the galaxy together. We'd much rather do that. Veltar looked around at her war council. For the first time in the Empire's history, they faced a species that could not be conquered through fear. A species that turned terror into determination and threats into opportunities. What do you propose? She asked finally. Lisa smiled. How about we start with that cultural exchange program? I have so many questions about your biology. And despite everything, Veltar found herself smiling back.